Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the DanJohnUniversity.com podcast. This is episode 249, and of course that means next week is 250. Each and every week I sit down and I answer your questions. Now, if you have a question, send them to us at this address, podcast@DanJohnUniversity.com. Now, it's interesting how many questions I get down below on how do you send questions into the podcast. Well, you send them in to podcast@DanJohnUniversity.com, and it's as simple as that. I try to answer each and every question. Sometimes I do the extra work and I'll make a little video for the person to make things clear, and sometimes we just have to reference you off to other issues. And let's begin. We have a great week, and the questions are all, it's a nice range of questions this week. So let's get started. We got a question from Adam. Boy, this guy's old. He's been around a while. He says this: the other day, me, were talking about how good doing hangs on the pull-up bar is for the shoulders. That's research. The book is called the study was called the Kauai study. I'm just repeating good information to you. Personally, I think it's real simple. When I go into my gym, I walk over to my pull-up bar, I put my hands on it, and then I just hang. But a lot of people always want more information, and Adam is one of them. Do you do them as a wide grip? You certainly could. A narrow grip? You certainly could. You can do them chin-up style, you can do them pull-up style, you can do them offset deadlift style. Another one I like a lot is that with my pull-up bars, I have that parallel area. The parallel one seems best for me, and I kind of think it's because of all the years of Olympic lifting. That one seems to pop things the best. Any grip you use is fine. In fact, I don't think it's a terrible idea to vary grips as you do this day in, day out. It is interesting when I pop up and I do the narrow grip one, very often I'll just sink down, and then there's just be this symphony of noises coming out of my neck, my whole T-spine. I mean, I'd like to know where the noises are coming from. I hope it's okay. I've had people go, whoa, as I'm doing that. The next question is, how long do you recommend hanging? Adam, I think the minimum is about 30 seconds. Now, certainly, I know a lot of people go a lot longer. I have a pull-up test where you do 30-second hang, one pull-up, a 30-second hang, another pull-up, 30-second hang, a third pull-up, 30-second hang, a fourth pull-up, and obviously you're going to be hanging for well over 2 minutes. And at county fairs now, and sometimes in the malls, and I know up at an amusement park, they have this new thing where you pay money to see how long you can hang, though they do cheat with the device. If you look at it, you'll notice it does jump about halfway through, and that's where everyone loses their grip. But you could probably work up to 2-minute hangs. What I would suggest, Adam, is this, is that instead of worrying about like 2 minutes once a week, I think if you just kind of popped up there for 30 seconds every day, I think that'd be better. Now, like I say often, now all the other questions are going to come in, like what if I don't have a pull-up bar or chin-up bar? Well, there is a pose in yoga called the child's pose. And basically, you're going to get in. You're going to get down on your knees. You're going to sit all the way back so your butt's on your heels, and then you're going to slide forward with your hands. I'm sure all over the internet there's plenty of information. One of the things I would recommend if you do this child's pose instead of the hanging is something Larry Draper taught me years ago, and it was I would suggest you pendiculate, which is a phrase from the School of Mobility she showed me. But while you're down, you would gently nudge the left arm forward, gently nudge the right arm forward, and just slowly try to make your way centimeter by centimeter, just a little bit farther. Relax your neck. You can play with it with your head stuck down in between your shoulders. You can pop it up, and you can just find what's best for you. So Every single day, I hang for 30 seconds. I also sit in the bottom of the goblet squat for 30 seconds. I call that my 1 minute mobility. I do a lot of mobility in my daily routine. Right next to me right here is my sauna, and I do Tim Anderson's kind of 10-minute reset every day in the sauna. Besides deep breathing, it's neck nods, a neck rotation exercise. I do a seated hinge, and then I do cross crawls, each for about 2 minutes a piece. And then when I go into my gym, which could be an hour, hour and a half later, I hang and I sit at the bottom of the goblet squat. I also do, obviously, other mobility movements as appropriate. And on Thursdays, Tonic Thursday, I do a whole hour of it. But for me, Adam, and I think this will be helpful for most of our listeners, when it comes to things like mobility, which is the free movement of all the joints, okay, as best you can, a little nudge every day is far better than taking a course on Sunday and trying to fix it all in 2 hours. A few minutes every day is better than a big hit every Sunday, or in most cases once a year. Thank you, Adam. It's a good question. I'm a big fan of the hang. I'm surprisingly a big fan of the hang. Of course, I'm a huge fan of sitting at the bottom of a goblet squat for 30 seconds too. I would say one thing, and this is a nice thing for any of our listeners. I would like to see most of our men to be able to drop down with a 24 kilo bell, sit for 30 seconds, and then stand right up. For most of our female listeners, 16 kilo bell or whatever's appropriate. Drop to the bottom, sit at the bottom for 30 seconds and stand up. I just think that's a good check-in long-term for how everything is tied together. Good question, and thank you. Joe has a question, and it's nice because he goes over Easy Strength. I just completed Easy Strength. Easy Strength is my program. If you don't know what it is, go to danjohnuniversity.com/bookstore. I would suggest buying the Omni book. There's 3 books up there. One on hypertrophy training, which is a new book, and I like a lot. The Easy Strength Omni book, and then of course the Easy Strength for Fat Loss book. And I wanted to update you on my results. I'm 39 years old, 5'9", and started Easy Strength at 167 pounds. Europeans, he's about 76 kilos. I think 158 is my best weight because my waist would be half my height. So I did Easy Strength with a little bit of what you say for Easy Strength for Fat Loss. I slept and ate the way you recommended. I added 75 swings at the end. Someone's paying attention? My heart's stopping. But because of my family commitments, could only get in 30 minutes of easy walking aerodyne, which is great. I just couldn't get in the full hour, which is fine. The half hour is just fine. The monotony of the same workout every time was really difficult, but I'm glad I did it. My undershirts don't fit the same across my shoulders anymore. My hamstrings and glutes are rock hard, outstanding. My strength is up across the board. The biggest result is that when I got my compound bow and arrow, out for the first since I did Easy Strength, I thought I had broken my bow because it was so easy. Here's my question. Did I screw up Easy Strength for Fat Loss by not doing the full hour after the workout? Is it something in my diet I'm overlooking, or is Easy Strength not for the last 10 pounds? My weight is my weight is consistently 165 to 167. If I get down to 161 to 163, my weight slingshots back up to 165 to 167. The main reason that I care is that I want my heart to be healthy for the long haul. That's fantastic. I just struggle with that last half inch in my waist. Thanks for all you do. So first, Joe, congratulations. You're stronger. You tell us you look better. So you obviously have had major body composition changes. I think the mistake, and the half hour versus the hour might be a small factor, but you're pretty clear that your time is an issue with you. So the half hour is just fine. And maybe instead of thinking of, 5 workouts a week for 52 weeks, let's think 5 workouts a week for 104 weeks. Let's think 2 years. And this is where the issue comes, Joe, and I think this is important we talk about this. Like many people, you have put yourself in a situation where there's this number. And by the way, body weight is right up there with income as a number that means a lot of things, but it doesn't tell the whole story. One of my first, I just gotten back from the Middle East, and after doing Earl Nightingale's Lead the Field, the next course I took was the Debt-Free Millionaire course. And one of the things I liked so much about that course was the emphasis on being debt-free and chasing the $1 million. So, you could be a millionaire and I have $1 million, but if you have $10 million in debt, the number's a little different. You could be at this magic number, 158, but you could also be that condition that people don't use anymore, but skinny fat. You could get your body weight down to 158 and not look good or feel good. So maybe right now, first thought is, by going by the way your clothes fit, you're making progress. And that's great, and keep at it. The second concept I want you to think about, I'm a big fan of Nick Peterson's bumpers. And the biggest thing about bumpers that's helped me is that you take, it's kind of like, I don't know, there's a million ways to explain it. We'll just go with this one. At a bowling alley, you've got gutters, okay? And when you roll the ball down the middle, it stays out of the gutter. Bumpers are a lot like gutters. In fact, the word bumpers fits right in. You got the little balls for the kids, they put the bumpers up. I'm against it, but we're not worried about that now. So for me, when I first started my weight loss journey, the first thing I did is I said, okay, here's a number I never want to be at anymore. And here's a number, it's interesting, I'm going to explain it as best I can. But I decided if I want to be around to be with Ella and Rose, my new granddaughter, I want to be around for a lot of her life. And you can't weigh 273. Now, at 273, folks, I can flip cabers, I throw the discus far. My joke is, I can't walk up a flight of stairs, but I can pick up a flight of stairs. But that's no way I'm going to be able to live another 20 years or so at that body weight. So I started just thinking out loud, okay, we would put a top number on my body weight. The engineer's diet does the same thing. And what you do is you say, okay, here's a number, and I don't want to get over that number again, and it's going to slide down over time. And here's a number I want to chase. The biggest mistake I made in the beginning is I put the number too low. I put the number at a body weight that I've been at. I haven't been at that body weight since 1975. And a good rule of thumb is to always try to weigh what you weighed in college. And I weighed between 218 and 231 in college. Well, as I sit here right now, I know for sure I'm at my college weight, which is nice. And my goal is to get down to that 218 number and live there. The original number is a little bit lighter. And then with the help of my coach, Dave Turner, he just reminded me of what happened in the past when I dropped too low. I just didn't feel good, didn't move well. So you have these two numbers. So for you, I would just, I'm just spitballing, but let's just say, let's go with 170, and the next number will be 160. And I want you to weigh in, and I want you to kind of look at where you task over time. Now, clearly, if you get over 170, you pop through the 170 line. What happened? I don't know what happened. For me, my body weight goes up when I travel. I'm telling you, there's something magical about planes that put body weight on, that put weight on the scale on me. But when I got back from my last trip to Denmark, my body weight was in a great place, and it made me think that, Nordic food agrees with me. And some of the other places I go that are a little bit starchier and that maybe that food doesn't agree with me. I'm just spitballing. And what I want you to do is start thinking about, I want you to do easy strength 5 days a week, and I want you to make this progress downward, but I don't want it to be like dropping off a ledge. Because if you do that with body weight, very often it hits and then it bounces up and it yo-yos, whatever the phrase you want, and it goes higher than it used to be. You might get down to 155 doing some crazy thing, but almost instantly bounce back up, not just to 167, but to 170, maybe even 175, because you've let everything go loose. So finding a tight little range of numbers and chart it every day. I would also chart your waistline. I would use centimeters instead of inches. We know for health statistics that getting under 95 is a very good thing for all men's health, 95 centimeters. Okay, well, let's say you're 102. Well, getting down to 100 is a nice little thing for you to do also. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Easy Strength for Fat Loss is at the bookstore, danjohnuniversity.com/bookstore. But one of the things I want to make sure you keep at is the key is the 5x52. You're making progress, and very often when people start to make progress, they almost accidentally start adding things that will cut into their own success. So let's make sure, Joe, in your case, you stick with the program because you're doing really well. You look better, your buns and hamstrings are tighter. So just keep at it because you're doing the right thing. You're trending in the right direction, and just keep going, okay? By the way, that's great advice for anybody listening. Thank you. We have a question from Lewis, and Lewis is a strongman competitor. There is a strongman competition August 3rd, and I'd like to compete in which would be my first competition in strongman. I would like to use easy strength in my approach. As of late, I've been getting conditioning from snatching and walking trails or wherever I can. I've been working up to 5x5 reload using exercise like deadlift, bench, Zercher squat, great tool for a strongman. Military press, great tool for a strongman. Ab wheel, push-ups, pull-ups, ring dips, kettlebell front squats, rows. I really like this program as it hit my body in many directions. I got to tell you, those make sense to me for strongman. I mean, I'd love to have a quick lift in there, but let's not worry about that until you do a couple more. The competition lifts are this: axle bar deadlift for reps, axle press for reps. You're doing some of them already. Zercher yoke carry, max time approximately 35. I don't know if it's seconds or feet. Keg over bar with the 56-pound keg over bar. Hercules hold max time, which would be testing grip strength, I believe. I have all the implements to use. I'm 38, 5'9", 220, not sure body fat, but not too much. If you have any insights, I would appreciate it and would really like to construct something to prepare for this competition. Well, I mean, if you're using an easy strength approach, or if you're thinking even like my background in track and field, one of the things I'd really recommend you do, I think it would be too hard to do all 5 of those every day. I mean, you could do it, but you have the equipment. So I want you to think about this. When you first get into the gym to train, if possible, you do mention you're doing snatches. Maybe get in the gym and do, get your snatch work in. Maybe even your kettlebell front squats, those ring dips and rows. Okay, good. So that'd be the first part. And then pick 1, 2, or 3 of the competition implements and do them. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to do the axle bar deadlift, don't go to failure. Go to comfort. Let's just say in competition you can do 35, okay, which is depending on the equipment, what it is a number you might see. Well, on the first couple of workouts, I want you to go to a comfortable finish. You can get 15, so go to 7 or 8. and do maybe 2, maybe 3 sets with it. It's not going to take long at all. And what I want you to do is slowly nudge that easy, the easy strength, that easy load upward. So if you're going to do, say like you can get 20 reps and you only do 10. Well, you get 10, easy. You do another set, 10, easy. Do another set, 10, easy. Stop for the day and finish the rest of your weight workout. Maybe do the deadlift, the bench, the other exercises as appropriate. There's a lot there. So make sure you think that through a little bit too. Next time you come in to lift, pick the other 2 or 3 that you didn't do and do those the same way. If you're training 5 days a week, I wouldn't necessarily do every exercise just once a week, because it's your first time. You need as much practice with every piece of equipment. So if you're training 5 days a week and you pick, 2 exercises a day, you're going to have a chance to double up, triple up those exercises throughout the work week. And I think that's a great idea. The only one I am worried about is the max hold on the Hercules hold. Grip strength does impact the rest of your training. So the one exercise I would just tell you to do at the end of everything would be the Hercules hold. Wait on that until the rest, your snatches, your snatching, your power lifts, those other exercises are all finished. And you've done your practice competition lifts, then do the Hercules hold, because grip strength really does have an impact on the rest of your training. It's just weird the way the human body is wired. You need a lot of brain energy to work the grip, and some of the other exercises, you really don't. That's why I'm such a big fan of like sleds and car pushes and even your Zercher work here, because you don't really have to worry about your grip very much. If I'm dragging a sled, I don't have to worry about my grip. If I'm pushing a car or pushing a prowler, I don't really have to worry about my grip. So you can really go deep into your energy systems without blowing up the rest of your training. I love the idea. And I do want you to put it together in a logical format and then send me a note, and we can talk about this more in the future. Thank you. And good luck on this. This is great. Thank you. We have a question from Dan. Nice name. Now, this is one of the few questions where I would like to, I wish another person was here talking with me. I have a question about spine health and working out first thing in the morning. I recently read Stu McGill stating working out first thing in the morning increases the risk of back injury due to fluid buildup in the spine during sleep, and is recommended to wait at least 1 hour after getting up to lift weights. I prefer to work out early in the morning soon after I wake up. Is it really necessary to wait 1 hour to lift weights? Okay, first off, I can almost guarantee Stuart said something much more nuanced than that. I work out in the mornings. I think the idea on this, I can guarantee Stu had a nuanced, insightful point he was making. I don't think you should roll out of bed, alarm goes off and sprint over and deadlift max. And I think Stu would agree with me. When you say you lift first thing in the morning, I mean, personally, I roll out of bed. I drink coffee. I pee. I drink coffee. I kind of stumble around for a while. And then, a couple hours later, I work out first thing in the morning. So I think the idea is this. If you're going to work out in the morning, just be wise about what you're going to do first. I'm old school enough to still keep the deadlift and the clean and jerks towards the end of workouts. If you have an hour workout where you start off with whatever you start off with, and then you do a push, a pull, a squat, and then you do a deadlift variation there, I'm willing to believe that, so you're looking at 35 minutes into the workout, that you've probably gotten yourself ready to go. Biggest deadlift I've ever pulled in my life was at 3 a.m. at a powerlifting meet in the morning, 3 a.m. on a Sunday. Dave Davis said, oh boy, in the early 70s, that he felt, and he had some research to back it up, that 3 o'clock in the afternoon was the best time for us humans to train. Sadly, not every boss or every school you can get away with that. So if you have to train early in the morning, just remember there are things that are going to be a little slow. I know this, especially when the weather changes. I struggle when I first wake up with my ankles the first 15, 20 minutes. But once I start moving around, the reason my ankles are rough is I was a discus thrower, 15,000 turns a year. Just, it does really put some damage on your ankles. Now, if the throws are all perfect, you probably don't, but you throw on snow, you throw on rain, you throw on asphalt, you throw on all kinds of things, so you do the best you can. But I do notice, but as I move around, they start to loosen up, and I don't even notice it the rest of the time. So I think your spine is going to be the same way. I think the idea is don't leap out of bed and do a max deadlift. Give yourself a little time. And always remember, Stu is an absolute genius. And he is, I think, one of the best people in the field. Every single time I've ever talked to him, I've come away smarter. But you just have to remember that when a guy like Stu says something, he has seen a whole bunch of stuff in his facility that reminds him about the importance of safety when it comes to training the backs. I'm echoing what he says there. Just keep in mind, if you're going to roll out of bed, give yourself a little bit of time to get going on those big movements, okay? Thank you. Fine question. Thank you. Russ gives us a lot of interesting information here. So let's listen to him, okay? I just finished the 10,000 swing challenge this morning, and I wanted to tell you about my experience. I got the 24-kilo bell as a Christmas present. Oh, Santa. Nice of Santa to do that. And began the program on the 26th, just how you wrote it up in T-Nation. 4 days a week, 4 exercises, 10, 15, 25, 50 for 5 rounds. Pretty soon I realized why you say, just finish the program and don't change it. I was getting lightheaded and really gassed by workout 2 and started to get intimidated. I went on 2 trips during the time, and the simplicity of it allowed me to do it on the road. He brought his bell on the road trip and found a gym at the conference. Excellent. That just makes me proud of you. I got sick 3 times. That's a lot in a short period. And really slowed down during the program. So instead of 5 weeks, I was 7.5 weeks from it, which is just great. I really enjoyed the 3-minute rest before the 50 rep set. I praise the Lord each time I set that timer. With some diet, I dropped 7 pounds, and my wife really noticed the body composition difference. The bell seems lighter. That is interesting. It does. And it's a great test of character. I'm thankful to my personal trainer who helped me some stretches and hacks to get the form right. With 10,000 reps, you have to get the form right. Absolutely. Oh, I did have a tough time keeping the count of reps and rounds, so I used rocks, washers, or chopsticks to help me count. I'd pull out 5, and at the end of the round, he would throw 1 in a glass. When there were 5, I could be done and stretch. That is just great to read that. Thank you, Russ, for sharing that with us. A couple of things. So in 7.5 weeks, he loses 7 pounds. And this brings us back to the earlier question about easy strength for fat loss. So sometimes, folks, in the real world, not this imaginary fairy tale world of these DVD commercials that maybe you don't see them as often on TV anymore, or the magic fairies and social media. In the real world, losing a pound a week is outstanding. And personally, I think if you're losing a pound or 2 a month and you keep at it, those weight loss gains will remain forever. If you lose 40 pounds in a week by doing some insane thing, you're going to rebound up to 50 pounds heavier the following week, as we all know. So it just gladdens my heart to see somebody who's losing a pound a week, and it's nice that the wife noticed. I like measurements, but as I even say it in my new book, write down those compliments, because people don't generally compliment each other when you look better. At least in my experience. When it's really noticeable and someone did like some bariatric surgery or something like that, you'll get, oh, look at you, you're disciplined. But for the bulk of us who are on these designed slow loss programs, you don't really get a lot of compliments until you get those before and after pictures out. So congrats, this is great. Thank you. We have a question from Brian. My question pertains to my nephew, who has been training for hypertrophy since he was 15 and is now 19. He has impressively gained somewhere around 50 pounds of muscle. Now, one thing before we go off, Brian, on this idea that it was the training program, between 15 and 19, I doubled in size. So, there's something magical about secondary puberty. He has impressively gained somewhere around 50 pounds of muscle since he started. However, he spends somewhere between 2 and 3 hours a day, 6 to 7 days at the gym, many exercises per muscle group, lots of sets, each to failure. He goes for broke nearly every workout. But he's not a competitive athlete or bodybuilder, and nor will he be a competitive athlete if that's the way he's going to train. I've got great respect for bodybuilding. I got great respect for the tools of bodybuilding, but there isn't. It's a sexist phrase, but we still love it. Looks like Tarzan plays like Jane. It is a truism. You see it at Highland Games. Guys who use bodybuilding often don't throw far because it's a good tool for what the tool is used for, but not for general athletics. I have talked to him about your strength muscle training philosophy, building gains slowly over time, and he has many years to develop the physique. He insists that he must build his muscle now, and he won't be able to do it when he's older. Okay, that's not true, but that's what he believes. While I admire him about his drive, good habits, and focus, I'm concerned this is too much and will result in burnout or later health problems. What are your thoughts about when training is too excessive or too much, especially with young people? Well, if I could answer that question, I see it a lot. At university campuses, you'll see guys consuming so many. It shocks me what they drink while they work out. Those energy drinks that are just hell on your kidneys and maybe liver. They come in these big aluminum cans and they got all this fancy colors, and the color itself scares me. There's nothing in nature that looks that color, and they're just loaded with chemicals that'll get you all fired up. And then they have a post drink of protein and creatine and all the rest. And then, but then you look at the loads they're lifting on the bar, and it's like they're not very strong. This need to look good, we used to call it peacocking. This need to look good is deeply ingrained, and I think the way I certainly know it's a cultural issue. There's no question about that. But I also think at some level, this might be an issue that came up, 100,000 years ago in some little Neanderthal, Homo sapien community when they were talking about, looking good for the whatever. But honestly, this is one of the few times where I don't feel like I have any advice for you. I salute him for training. I salute him for doing all this stuff seriously. I'm a big believer in, cost to benefit ratios. 3 hours training a day at his age. If he worked 3 hours a day, flipping burgers and took all that money at 19, and put it into a Roth IRA, he would not ever have to worry about retirement. He would be set for life. If he took those 3 hours a day and studied up on anatomy, physiology, biology, and went to medical school, or he, read the great books and, took debate classes and, practiced his writing skills, he'd go to law school. There is a cost to benefit with every decision there is. And for him, he sees great benefits in how he's spending his money and time now. And so on one hand, I salute him. On the other, I also know what it is to be 19, and I know how difficult it was for me, especially when I went through that massive growth spurt. Some of the people I know his age, that they will do a lot of drugs and stuff like that, and they write checks that they don't want to cash when they're in their late 50s and 60s. I'll tell them that. So as long as he has a healthy focus, he's not doing drugs that will ruin him, and we all know what those drugs are. It's just he's chosen to do this instead of that. Ideally, it's positive, but I don't want to. This is one of the few times I'm uncomfortable giving advice, as you can hear by my attempts at giving you advice. Thank you, and let's hope he keeps doing this and feels good and feels great and everything works. Thank you. I've got a question from Matt. He says, if you have unlimited time on your hands and could grease the groove all day, every day, how much would be too much? Also, would constantly greasing the groove be a good alternative to regular workouts? Phil Maffetone has a book on strength where he greases the groove. Basically, everybody loves every minute on the minute. It's every hour on the hour, and he recommends things like overhead squats, Romanian deadlifts, front squats. I love that. I think that's the way to do it. For me, I know a lot of people do pull-ups because, back in the kettlebell community when Grease the Groove first came out, it was the pull-up that everyone was chasing. So the pull-up is the most common. So can Grease the Groove replace normal workouts? Well, we've actually had this conversation with some people. If you were to do, like if you're an Olympic lifter and you were to do a set, snatches, and front squats every hour in the hour, you did that for 9 or 10 hours, that'd be 9 or 10 sets a day. Yeah, I think some marvelous things would happen. Is it better? I don't know. I know it works really well with certain exercises. Weirdly, the traditional calisthenics family. So it works great with pull-ups, it works great with push-ups, and it also works well if you're going to try to learn a gymnastics trick. Every hour you practice, a little bit of it. That works well. I imagine dips would work well. I don't have any experience with that. Of course, for me, I'd love to see it done with the Olympic lifts. It would be interesting to do it with farmer walks. That would be there's an interesting experiment. If you're doing crawling or climbing, every hour in the hour you climb a rope. I imagine after a few weeks you'd be pretty good at climbing ropes. Finally, Matt asks, are there any movements we should not grease the groove with? Because of the need for spotters, I'll probably guess bench press. But I think you could do it with anything, as long as it's, the idea though is you have to have the equipment like right there. You have to have the pull-up bar. Every time you walk past that room, you do a pull-up. Push-ups obviously are easier, and that's why I think maybe calisthenics works so well. So if you're to do my idea of, snatch and clean and jerk, a single every hour in the hour, well, you'd have to have, the way I'm thinking of it, you'd have to have 2 Olympic bars and a platform, because you'd want to be able to hit the, just hit that clean, hit that snatch, hit that clean and jerk, and then go back to work. So if you had a self-spotted bench press might even be safe too. I don't know, always some of the designs I don't trust, but let's not worry about that now. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of our listeners are thinking, I could do it with curls, but I'm not sure you'd get the hypertrophy from the work from curls. So yeah, I think you could probably do it with everything, but I hope you heard the issue. It's going to be the equipment. Okay. Thank you, Matt. Well, that's a fun question. Never really thought of that. Well, we have a question from Tom. I was wondering if you could give me your take on the following dilemma as an older lifter. I am 59 years old and body weight between 174 at 5'9". He's done starting strength on and off through the years, and he's gained some strength. I usually put on too much body weight. Oh, that's an issue with squats, and that's the gift of squats and the problem with back squats. Yeah, and I'm not that strong. My knees are beat up, and I have long femurs. The squat, although I'm told the way he's doing correctly, feel dangerous to me. Yep, old knees. As I'm getting up in the years, I was wondering if loading the bar and squat is worth the risk anymore. I have been active most of my life, and I'm a mountain biker up here in northern Canada with our beautiful mountains to enjoy. He wants to keep mountain biking. My dilemma is this. About a year ago, I found soft style kettlebells. Love the workout and flows. However, I lose strength and body weight when I commit to kettlebells only. You know, I got a friend online named bikejames.com, and James would be the person you'd want to ask on this. And the nice thing about James, he's trained at my gym. He's a great guy. He invented great pedals for mountain biking that are just really nice. Years ago, he really had an interesting training program. He just used the big 3 kettlebell moves, plus an exercise I teach a lot, the windmill stick, another one of my inventions. And he felt that the windmill stick was a great way to prepare yourself for the cornering on mountain bikes. You mentioned the soft style and kettlebells. So, I teach the hard style. So one issue might be it's not kettlebells, it's this energy conservation style you're using. There's nothing good or bad about any of the styles. They're all just, how you plug and play them into what you're trying to get. But if you're going to do, I would imagine if you did clean and press, goblet squats, appropriate swings, that's one thing Bike James really did emphasize with me. He does think the Turkish get-up was really a good exercise for mountain bikers. You guys have that crazy all over your body strength. One of my professional baseball players told me the reason he thinks he's a professional baseball player was 2 things. He was a gymnast as a child and a mountain biker. And he felt that learning gymnastics and mountain biking allowed him to do anything in athletics. So hats off to gymnastics and mountain biking. So I would take James's advice here. I would do the kettlebells. I would do the clean and press, kettlebell swing, goblet squats, double kettlebell front squats if you can, Turkish get up. Look up on my site, windmill stick. I've got 2 videos on it, at least on YouTube. That could be a great answer for you. Every time you beat up your knees, doing squats is going to be taking you away from the joy and fun of mountain biking. So I would suggest with your squat family, you're doing the squats to look good, feel good, move good, not to gain excessive body weight. As a mountain biker, I think you want to be a little bit leaner, a little bit more in control. You want to have really great body awareness. That's when the Turkish get-up might be very helpful. That's where the windmill stick might be very helpful too. So I'm certainly no expert on mountain biking. I've certainly done it because I live in Utah. But the number one thing I would try to get you to think of is, first off, your time on the mountain bike is the most important thing in your training. If you're just doing kettlebells, take advice from smart people like Bike James. Clean and press, goblet squat, double kettlebell front squat if you have the equipment, Turkish get-ups, the windmill stick, swings, and I have a book on this called the Hardstyle Kettlebell Challenge. That might help you. I don't know. Great question. One thing you always have to remember that a program that you find online might be just perfect for powerlifters. But when you take a powerlifting program and try to translate it over into another sport, it doesn't always work well. And that is something I keep kind of bumping into my whole career. I just had a question about bodybuilding. I have many friends who are bodybuilders. I have one of my clients is preparing for a contest right now. But the tools of bodybuilding don't always lend themselves to helping over here. The tools of Olympic lifting are great, but they might not fit here. So just kind of remember that, all of you listeners, that not everything works like a jigsaw. Not everything fits together, okay? So thank you. Good question. Real good questions this week. I'm shocked. Shocked I am. Well, listen, if you, gentle listener, have questions, send them to us at podcast@danjohnuniversity.com. I sit here each and every week and I answer them as best I can. And until next time, let's all keep on lifting and learning. Thank you.